Welcome to Honshin Fine Art. First Friday, July 3rd. We are, of course, all now wearing masks because we are now in a different world that relates very strongly to what we're going to show and talk about this month. Because this month's show in July, right after Independence Day, we celebrate Interdependence Day. And interdependence is very clear now because you see these masks, and we now know that the invisible world that we live in is much greater than the physical world by 95.95%. And the idea is that we're all interconnected through the invisible, and one of the big invisible players are the biome, the bacteria and the viruses that we live in the ocean of. And right now we're seeing how incredible these little, they're much older than us, by the way. They're billions and billions of years old. We're just new kids on the block, and they are out there and they are traveling around the world at an incredible rate. In just less than 6 months, they've infected every country in the world. And unfortunately for us, the United States, they've infected us one of the most. And also here in Arizona, we are struggling by learning more about this invisible energy of the virus. And we're trying to do our best to contain it and live through our interface with it. Because we've interfaced with many, many viruses and bacteria before, and we're still here. So this one, though, is a special one, and there's many conspiracy theories on how special it is. We won't go into that, but we'll say we're grateful for it because it has shown us that as a species on this planet, we are vulnerable. We're extremely vulnerable, and we need to be incredibly aware of all the other life forms that we interact with and how all that works, because we're truly interdependent. And we do need to be independent before we can discover interdependence. So I don't have anything against Independence Day. I just feel it's the first step. And so one of the symbols that we have found that works really well with our interdependence theme is the hummingbird. Because the hummingbird, there's a lot of things that are dependent on the hummingbird as a species. It takes care of 8,000 different species of plants. And it also exhibits some amazing qualities of strength, not through muscle, as it were, but strength through design and intent and the ability to focus a lot of energy in a small space with consciousness. So we have a new painting that exhibits this for this month, and it's here behind me. We just finished it yesterday. I announced last year that I was working on it, and it took a whole year to bring it to finish here. And it's called Hummingbirds of the Healing Heart, bringing in the golden moments of the rainbow dawn. And all of my paintings are incredibly symbolic, and everything in them is a symbol of something that I've experienced and have come to understand through nature, my interaction with nature and science and art, which all three of those come together in my paintings. So in this painting, every hummingbird has an image of itself, the opposite image of itself, coming from this one here and this one here, and they're coming together to meet. They've been looking for each other, the other part of their self, the two souls that are searching for their mate. And so we have 4 on this side and 4 on that side, and through their awareness, self-conscious awareness, which is represented by these little, I call them bubbles, I call them El Bosco bubbles, because Hieronymus Bosch, El Bosco, put them in his paintings as portals where different dimensions were opening up. So I got the idea from him. So around these hummingbirds is a little bubble, but for me that bubble represents a state of inward meditation, discovering oneself and discovering the environment that we live in as it pertains to our own experience. And so through that process of meditation, they have become aware of these moments, the moments where we know that life is deep and full of meaning and full of mystery and mystique, and that we can learn from it. And so each one of these hummingbirds represent a heart that is learning. And the learning hearts are looking for the other half of the learning that they need to understand and to come together and be unified. So they're on this journey, and it's a rainbow journey. It's a journey of all the different frequencies of energy that manifests through the psychology of our species. And they're looking for those harmonious parts that can come together. And so here come the golden moments, those moments that the hummingbirds are bringing in with their intention and their meditation and their attention to life as it's flowing. And we see here in the invisible energies that are coming in that have formed all of the possibilities of everything here. These are the invisible energies of the stars exploding, of the forces of the astrophysical creation of the universe, have created all the elements that have made all this possible. Very little of it is visible, but the rest of it is pushing all this material around that has been conscious. And it's that conscious material that becomes aware of creation as an interdependent, interconnected thing. So we're here celebrating, and there's 53 golden moments on here, which is a prime number because we speak through primes, because all of nature speaks through primes. So this is the baby, the hummingbird, and they're bringing in these golden moments, and I relate to it very strongly. There you go. I'm reading a book here that keeps falling. It's called The Storm Before the Calm by George Friedman. And we all understand that we're going through a very incredibly big process here. He's made it a little clearer for me in understanding that we're having a cultural crisis. We're having an institutional crisis, and our government doesn't function anymore. We're having an economic crisis as a result of a pandemic crisis. And this it's like this huge, perfect storm coming together. And fortunately for us, we live in a country that was based on stormy stuff, and that they were inventors, and they invented this system that we live in that allows us to adapt, even though it may be a very painful and conflictive process. We keep going through it, but it's designed to come out on the other end of crisis in a better form, in a more functional form. And this is what's going on, and I love it because it's like the hummingbirds. I mean, we need to have the energy of the hummingbirds, like, you know, got to eat your every 15 seconds, and you got to gather all this stuff and bring in the energy, the conscious energy of life in order to renew ourselves, because it's really, really important for us to understand this process that we're going on is not going to go away tomorrow. It's, you know, most intelligence and science says we're into it for a decade, and so get ready. I have another poem. It's called "This Poor Ship," and I say, "Man the lifeboats," I say. Learn to navigate by the stars. Learn to move yourself through this ocean of life, because we all need to come together and find a way through that is not here yet. We don't have it. That's why things are coming apart. And so we need to discover through our efforts how to move through. And that will come out of the turmoil and the energy of what's going on today, the conflict and the crisis of all these things coming together in a perfect storm. So we say, what is interdependence? To awake, to know and understand. It all comes from the inside, and you get there by looking in. So we have some poems. We always have poems. And enough philosophy. We could go into the poems that are philosophy. We have poems here for the hummingbird. And so the first one is called "How Beautiful, How Amazing, How Wondrous, from the high plateau of the Brazilian mysterious rainforests, from an energy knife-edge, razor-thin balancing act in the art of evolution, a being of magnificence has come forth to bless us with beauty and inspiration. A caretaker of over 8,000 plants, it's drinking its body weight in the glorious nectar of flowers every day. Mealtime every 15 minutes or die, waving its wings, beating 80 times a second. A tiny nuclear heart reactor, beating 400 to 1,200 times a minute. Doing hibernation every night and playing with the microscopic bubbles of air that manifest in infinite rainbow colors, dancing on wings and breast and head. O messenger of the plant, you are our hummingbird messenger as well. And we give thanks to you for your humming heart as it beats with joy, with love, compassion in our world. Independence Day. So, you know, we all have Independence Day. This country is built on, you know, self-reliance. That's really important, and I believe in it, that we need to be self-reliant. But we also need to understand that self-reliance wouldn't work if other people weren't doing other things, that were supporting what we're doing. And not just people, but the plants, the animals, the bees. If we don't have bees, we're dead. It's like, end of story. And so we need to know how interconnected we are and respect all of life. So anyway, I wrote this big poem here for Interdependence Day, because we always celebrate it and read it for this day after Independence Day. So here we go. We are not separate. We are interdependent, and we are interconnected, and we are interdependent. We are the love, and we are the anger, and we are the peace, we are the fear, we are the compassion, we are the courage, we are the joy, we are the greed, we are the generosity, we are the delusion, the wisdom, the ignorance, and the equanimity. We are all these energies as they flow from every human being and are owned by all. In degrees of separation, learn to trust your heart. Learn the joy of connectivity. Learn the joy of relationship with the oneness that you have arisen from and will return to. Learn the language of nature's heart. See the symbols of deeper understanding. Share them with your thoughts, with your words, with your actions, with all of your life. Share them with creative enthusiasm. Interdependence, what is that? Interdependence and interconnectedness, what is that? I am you. You are me. That which you see depends on the sun. That which you hear depends upon the atmospheric ocean that you live in. That which you think and feel depends upon your electromagnetic super-binary vehicle. Your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, all tiny charges of electrochemical magnetic energy, signaling all of your human body parts. Your heart, your brain, your blood, your skin, your bones, your hair, your muscles, your teeth, your eyes, your ears, all of your inner organs, each a dynamic part of the interconnected network of connectivity served by proteins, molecules, mitochondria, sugars, fats, and starches, and all have been created from nature's heart. From the atom, created from the life and death of infinite number of stars, asteroids, planets, comets, and moons. Interdependence. You say, what is that? And interconnectedness, what is that? The water, the air, the fire, the earth, the energy of the sun, and all the gifts. All are you, and you are them. All of this is your human birth. Invisible, visible, indivisible, merging and merging and merging. The microbes, the virus, the bions, the prions, all merging and merging. All dance together with you and in you. In the great unfolding of the evolving novelty wave. That brings us together. That brings us all together in the singularity. And then it individuates us into an infinite number of parts, each containing all the other parts. And that is the wholeness. And that is the oneness of being in the great, vast, expanding universe, giving birth to an infinite number of universes, bridging the multi-dimensions of the eternal. Time and space, no time and no space. We are one and everyone. We are no one in the great circle of life and death. Life and death. Life and death. So there we go. That's the interconnectedness poem 220, the 220 vision interconnectedness. So I think We're going to talk about a painting too, a couple of them that are new, that were painted during isolation time. One is called, it's a little painting, it's called Amongst the Chaos. And it's about amongst the chaos. Life is chaos, and right now we got a lot of chaos. And so for me, when I'm sitting in my studio thinking about my painting and meditating about them, often when I'm painting, I'll get my brush and I'll test the color over here on the board. Test the color on the board, paint it over here. Test the color on the board, test the color on the board, and I'm not thinking about testing the color. I just put the color there and looking at the brush strokes. So, at one point I picked up this board that I've been doing that with, and I said, well, that's a painting all by itself. I wasn't even thinking about doing it, but I started a painting. And so there's a little meditator in this painting. And he's sitting on a little golden square, which is, of course, the golden moment, the moment. And he's sitting amongst all these chaotic lines of energy swirling around him. And he has a message, and his message is that amongst the chaos, we can find the golden moments of peace when we practice meditation. So, it's a painting about meditation and how it can help you when you feel like life has gotten too chaotic, too overwhelming. Stop. You don't have to do it a lifetime. It's been proven that like anywhere from just 4 minutes to 10 minutes of just sitting and thinking of something that was beautiful, a painting, a flower, a stream, a person you love, the sound of something that brings joy to your heart. And so that's what I recommend, and that's what that painting's about. It sort of demonstrates that you can find a peaceful energy within inside yourself, even amongst the great chaos of our current times, if you just take the time every day to just sit for a minute. And some people call it doing nothing, but I say it's being. And being is not doing nothing. It's getting back to your original state before all this stuff got heaped upon us by our culture, by our society, by the economics, by everything that we're taught that is part of who we are before we even have a chance to know who we are. So once you can start to know who you are, you can like shed some of that stuff and find out what your real self is. And so we have another poem that I think it'd be good to close with. Wait. We have one more painting we want to introduce. It's called The Song of Peace. And it's an interesting painting because it has historic reverberance for me, because my father, who spent many 50 years in Japan, 6 months a year, every year, for 50 years, from the time I was 10 till he died, he would go to Japan, and he spent 6 months there. He lived in the temples, he meditated, and he painted. He was a painter. And this painting, The Song of Peace, one of the things that, styles of things that he sort of developed in his way was in Japan, on the temples, hanging on the outside, the monks or the priests will paint something and they'll hang it on the outside of the temple and they'll paint it on wood. Well, over the centuries, some of the paint will go away, and the grain of the wood, the natural grain of the tree, the mythic energy, those invisible forces that are shown in the art of nature come through. And so my dad said, you know what, I could just do that. I could make it look like that. It doesn't have to sit there for 400 years or 300 years. So he took this beautiful grained paneling, which used to be able to get it real easy. Now they don't make it the same way anymore. And he created these paintings with the grain of the wood in them. So I loved them, so I said, well, I can do that too. And so that particular painting is one that I got out of his studio, that he'd started the background on that wood. And then he was passed away, so I was cleaning his studio, so I'll finish the painting for him. So it had the color, the orange to black, and that was all that was on it. And so I accentuated it a little bit and then went forward. So it's really a painting of me and my father together. And that makes it really special for me. So, and out of this painting came a little poem, like a haiku. It's called The Song of Peace. Now, in this present golden moment, arising in the mystic light of a moon of meditation, we can listen to the song of peace. So, one more little poem here, we'll do it, because those are the paintings we're going to talk about for this first Friday. And so this last poem is kind of a closer. It's a wish, it's sort of a prayer as well. It's called Eyes Wide Open, No Fear. You are the family. You are the team. And we are all on a mission of peace, a mission of healing joy, a mission of love, and a mission of compassion. We are so grateful that you have chosen to be here now in this precious present moment with us, to share our thankfulness and appreciation of your attention and your energy and your joy and your creativity. We all have the privilege of working together, bringing the healing energy of art to the world. And we thank you for your being on this journey of peace and liberation, dedicated to end the suffering of all sentient beings by practicing joy and peace in the present moment and sharing it with others. And that's always been the case, but right now it seems like, wow, we need a big dose of lots of people caring and sharing with others and understanding that we're all connected so intimately that there's a Mayan saying, Imna Lakesh, that is, you are another myself. And then there's the saying from the Hindu religion, the Tattvam Asi, thou art that. And so if we could just get to that place where we understand that two hummingbirds are going to find each other. And when they do, there's a tremendous amount of joy and love and peace and compassion that's brought into the world. And we each are like a little hummingbird looking for our connectivity with the other part of our soul, or another soul that we unite with that makes us whole. But we always say that even inside of each of us, there's two parts. And it's only when those parts come together in harmony that we have the ability to get our wings going and fly into the rainbow light of the golden moment dawn, just like the hummingbirds. So thank you for coming and sharing with us on this first Friday in July. And we'll be looking forward to coming back for First Friday in August, where we will be having another special live event from Honshin Fine Art with special seating for 13 invited guests. But you're all invited live to share with our streaming, and we will also share it on Facebook, so you don't have to see it when it's live. You can see it after it's live, and it'll still be live for you, because it's the first time you saw it. Which is always what I say about people, they look at a painting and say, "Whoa, is that a new painting?" I say, "Have you seen it before?" "Well, no." "Well, then it's brand new." And so I like that. There are paintings that hang around for years and years and years and years, decades, and you were like, "Well, what's wrong with this painting?" And then one day somebody will come in, and they'll walk and they'll look at every single painting and they'll say, "Oh my God, you have my painting." And I love that, because it's really when you know that something is connecting. And for me, I mean, to me, and we've discovered through the neuroscientist Eric Kandel, who won the Nobel Prize in Neuroscience. He won that in 2009. He wrote a book called The Age of Insight. And it was all about art becoming the symbol of deeper understanding of ourselves. And he posited, and he hooked people's brains up to all the electrodes and everything, and showed them art, and the artists too. And he discovered that the artist's work is never finished until someone else sees that artwork and has an experience that comes from the inside and shares it with the artist. At which point, the cycle is complete. You know, that doesn't always happen, but for me, I've been very blessed, and to my wife Crystal can mention it. And people who work in the gallery can mention it here. People will come in and they'll start weeping in front of a painting, and that's when I know I've done my job. They don't even have to say anything; it just hit them so deep somewhere. And to me, that is the connectivity of the interdependence. That is the real interdependence. When you discover the deep feeling of another and you resonate with it and you share it, because that's when you know that you're okay. And that's why I do my art, because it's like, there's little windows that people can walk up, and they may not experience a thing, and that's okay too. But if they're in that moment where that's just what they needed to see. They just needed to see that color, that symbol, that flower, that bird, that insect, that something, those two people coming together, or the swirl of a spiral going up into the sky, transforming through time and space and color. And they just open up. So we have the testimonials of people who said, it did something to my heart. I left your gallery, I didn't buy it. But when I got home, after I got off the plane, I called you up and I said, I'm buying that. Because that never happened to me before. I said, That's when I'm humbled. Totally. I was also very excited because it's the economy that runs this place. So. But the economy that runs a place through joy and deep understanding, I mean, that's the gift of a lifetime. And I'm also very grateful for that. That I have this opportunity to practice that. And be aware of it, instead of like, you're just going like, oh man, we sold $500,000 last year, let's go to France and drive around in a Rolls Royce. I mean, that'd be fun, but it's not the meaning of it. And of course, this is what we're talking about, the meaning of the symbols, and what they convey, and what connotations they have to our evolving culture of who we are as humans. Oh, we're on that edge, that razor's edge, just like the hummingbird. We have other things that are conflictive than having to eat every 15 minutes and not be able to walk. I'm not going to mention all the confliction we have because that would be... We're connecting with joy and harmony and peace and love tonight, yes indeed. We all know how much trouble there is in the world without going over it. So thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for sharing with Honshin Fine Art another Words Falling from the Sky in the Present Moment, the good news from Sedona as it comes to you through art, science, and nature, and how they merge together to create a new age of enlightenment.